Hello everybody, welcome back to the sessions on power electronics by Ramana. This is the 34th session in this series in which we are going to discuss the concepts of protection of power devices. Protection of power devices from over voltages. In the previous session, we have discussed the concept of SMPS, its applications, working, advantages and disadvantages of SMPS, and its comparison with the other linear power supplies and UPS. And in this session, we will discuss the necessity of protecting the power devices, how the power devices are protected from over voltages, and different over voltage protection circuits using SCRs, crowbar circuits, static switches or circuit breakers, that is DC circuit breaker and AC circuit breakers, by using power electronic devices. That is, these are different from the normal electrical circuit breakers. But before going to this actual discussion of today's session, let us go back to the concept discussed some 3 or 4 sessions back when we discussed different problems or disturbances which may occur in any given power supply. That is, the disturbances which may occur in any given power supply were discussed elaboratedly, and those disturbances were categorized as over voltage or under voltage, over currents. Next, the other forms of disturbances inside the voltage waveform, like sharp rise in voltage, that is spikes and harmonics, electromagnetic interferences and others. And mainly it is the voltage which has to be maintained within the specified limits, and its waveform should be of proper quality without any disturbances, which will be actually fed to the load connected across the supply terminals. In that manner, we have discussed how to prevent the aspects of disturbance of voltage like spikes and harmonics, where spikes were suppressed by using different circuits, that is isolation transformers, regulation transformers, snubber circuits and MOVs, that is metal oxide varistors. So by using those 4 types of circuits, we were able to isolate the circuits, isolate the load from the electrically isolate the load from the actual power supply, and also improve the waveform by eliminating the spikes and harmonics and other interferences. But the main aspect of the voltage, that is over voltage and under voltage, were left without any discussion. And when it comes to under voltage, it will not be a very big problem. When the voltage supplied by the source to the load is lower than the specified voltage, the performance of the load deteriorates, flickering of lamp loads may occur. So if that is the problem is high, the source will be cut off or source will be switched off, or if it is in the permissible limits, load will be continued with the supply, though the performance will be deteriorated. But when it comes to over voltages, the condition of over voltage itself is the problem, which may damage the load, not only performance of the load, which may damage the load. But again, just consider what is the load in this case. We are considering that power supplies linear, UPS and SMPS, which are the power supplies, which are given to supply specified voltage to the given load via the converter circuits, where the source supply can be AC or DC, and load also can be AC or DC. In either condition, in all the combinations, we have to take care that whenever some over voltage prevails, that should not reach the load and damage the load. But again, the load can be the converter itself, or load can be any other drive to which the converter supplies the voltage in the required form. In either of the cases, the converters are in between the load and the power supply. Or now let us come to the actual point. The actual switching power electronic devices, actual switches or power electronic devices are there in between the source and the load, and those power electronic devices can be thyristor family devices or transistors, MOSFETs, IGBTs, which will serve the purpose in that particular circuit, in that particular condition. So whenever over voltage or over currents occur, these transistors or the power electronic devices are the actual things which are going to be damaged first. For normally for the over voltages with very little higher value than the upper voltage limit, nothing will happen. Though those transistors as well as the loads can be subjected to those higher voltages for longer times also. But when the over voltage exceeds above the tolerable limits, the heat dissipation due to the high voltage applied across the terminals, the transistors or power electronic devices becomes more, and in turn they may damage the power electronic devices, and in turn meanwhile they can also damage the load. So because of these reasons, the power devices or power electronic devices themselves have to be protected from the over voltages. So there arises the necessity of protecting the power devices. Again, these power devices, that is power electronic devices, may be there inside the power supply, between the power supply and the load, in the form of converters. So you have to protect them. In turn, you have to protect the load. So how to protect them from over voltages? Basically, the concept we will be discussing in a few moments, and there are different types of circuits used for them. Those things we will be discussing. So protection of power devices is the main concern. Many power devices are very sensitive for over voltages. Over voltages, that too, not very high. They may not be very high. Even a little higher voltages than their rated voltages. That is, if an IC has a rated voltage of 5 volts, then it may not withstand a voltage of even 5.1 volts for even 2 or 3 cycles, or for a duration of milliseconds. You have to cut out that over voltage, or you have to find some way so that extra voltage should be diverted and the IC should get its voltage. That is the concept of protection of power devices should target two things. That is, it has to keep the load voltage within the limits. At the same time, it has to divert the extra voltage or over voltage to do some other thing so that it will not reach the load. These two things are to be taken care by the protection circuits for the power devices. And a digital IC is one such very vulnerable equipment which gets damaged even at slight over voltages. Hence, such devices must be protected from higher voltage and higher currents. So, we have different circuits which can be used to protect the power devices from over voltages. A basic over voltage protection. Crowbar circuits. Next, other types are static circuit breakers, DC and AC circuit breakers. The over voltage protection circuit is the basic type of circuit which does both the things which I have mentioned just now. That is, it obstructs the extra voltage or high voltage to reach the load, and it provides something so that the extra voltage will be supplied to some other path. Whereas crowbar circuit provides protection to the power devices just by simply switching off the supply source in some fashion when there are very high energies, very high voltages occurring inside the supply. So the difference between the over voltage protection circuit using SCR and crowbar circuit is crowbar circuit disconnects the connection between the supply and the load and it isolates. It breaks the circuit. It isolates the circuit, thus protects. Whereas over voltage protection circuit will not disconnect. It will share the extra energy due to the over voltage to some other path. Whereas the other concept is static circuit breakers are the static power electronic circuits which will replace the electrical circuit breakers which we have discussed in the power systems, where these circuits are used to make or break the circuits under consideration whenever it is required. DC circuit breakers, as the name indicates, they run under DC. AC circuit breakers under AC. So the concept of over voltage protection is explained like this. Over voltage protection is a power supply feature. It may be embedded inside the power supply itself, which shuts down the supply in some cases or clamps the output. That is, it clamps to the particular fixed voltage of the output which will be given to the load and some other thing, or it clamps the extra voltage. It clamps the extra voltage and diverts it to some other path and allows the rated voltage to reach the load when the voltage exceeds a preset level. So the basic and most important electronic device which comes into our mind to suit to such conditions is a reverse biased Zener diode. It is the voltage sensing element which conducts at its reverse breakover voltage. Normally it will be employed in reverse. Under normal conditions it is reverse biased, but it will not conduct up to the rated voltages of the load and power supply. When over voltage occurs above the rated voltage, then that will be sufficient to break the Zener diode in reverse. It conducts, it starts to conduct, thus provides a parallel path to the load, and a circuit acts in the required fashion. And by this Zener diode, by the action of this Zener diode, all the circuits are designed such that a thyristor or SCR can be used for overvoltage protection in a power supply circuit. That is the overvoltage detection circuit. Overvoltage detection circuit comprises of Zener diode, other diodes and resistors to limit the currents and gate currents to the SCR. That detection circuit fires the SCR to short circuit the supply terminals to keep voltage within the limit. This is the concept, main concept of the overvoltage protection circuits. All the three types. The concept of overvoltage protection lies in this, that is, the overvoltage detection circuit comprising of Zener diode fires the SCR to short circuit the supply terminals to keep the voltage within the specified limits. In some specified cases, when the short circuit current is very high, then the fuse blows out to isolate and protect both the load and the source. That is for crowbar circuits. And in this slide is shown a typical overvoltage protection circuit using SCR, which is used for AC mains, or when this supply is, just consider it is a single phase AC, the load gets its current and voltage in the normal path. The source impedance ZS is shown in series, and obviously a fuse is connected in series. So this is the actual circuit where the load gets its voltage. So that is the normal path via which load gets its supply via the source impedance. The source impedance will obviously be as less as possible. And the other circuit, the actual overvoltage protection circuit, is connected in parallel with the load. Under normal conditions, load will be getting its supply via some other converter circuit or maybe directly from the AC mains as it is, depending on its conditions. And in between, this is the actual protection circuit, which will not be normally carrying any current under normal conditions. Just go through the circuit. Just when the supply is positive, or during the positive half cycle, current flows via the source impedance R1 and into these three paths. Or during the positive half cycle, the anode of T1 gets positive voltage, or T1 will be forward biased but T2 will be reverse biased. And the other path for the current is via D1, which will be forward biased, and D2 will be reverse biased, and Z, that is your Zener diode, is connected in reverse in this fashion. So during the positive half cycle, though T1 is forward biased, it will not be conducting because its gate will not be given any triggering pulse, because the gate current is obstructed by the Zener diode. And likewise, in the negative half cycle, the current flows via the load as it is, but in this protection circuit, it takes the path like this. T1 will be reverse biased, T2 will be forward biased, and current flows via D2, D1 will be reverse biased, Z is also reverse biased. So there will not be any current entering into the gate of the SCR T2. So this is under normal conditions. Normal conditions means when the output voltage of the mains is not over voltage, or it is not more than the rated voltage. not more than the rated voltage. So now consider that the output voltage of the source increases more than the rated voltage or an over voltage occurs. That is, instead of 230 volts, just consider that instead of 230 volts, a voltage of 240 volts comes into picture. Then in the normal conditions, the voltage is fed to the SCR in the given half cycle via this Zener diode, which is blocking, means this Zener diode will obstruct the total 230 volts, which is the normal voltage. But when the applied voltage has become more than this 230, or it has become 235 volts for example, then that extra voltage will be sensed by this Zener diode, or that extra voltage will be sufficient to turn on this Zener diode in reverse, or it conducts in reverse. It conducts in reverse, and a current via this path will enter the gate of T1 in the positive half cycle. In the negative half cycle, via this path, that is D2, ZR2 and D4, it enters the gate of T2. In the positive half cycle, it enters via R1, D1, ZR2, D3 and T1. So in both the positive half cycles, whenever an over voltage occurs, this Zener diode conducts in reverse, the corresponding SCR will be triggered, and that SCR will conduct heavily, and the turn on times of SCRs are very less, and within no time a short circuit prevails across the supply terminals via this R1, which limits the short circuit current. R1 is the short circuit limiting resistance, short circuit current limiting resistance, so that source will not get damaged. So the extra voltage which will be sufficient to drive the Zener diode will be sufficient to turn on the corresponding SCRs, that is T1 in positive half cycle, T2 in the negative half cycle, and that extra voltage will be dissipated inside the source impedance, this current limiting resistor R1 and the corresponding T2. That is, when short circuit occurs, when during the positive half cycle, the short circuiting current due to the extra voltage flows via source impedance R1 T1, and load will be getting its rated voltage as it is. And in the negative half cycle, the short circuit current flows via the mains T2, R1 and ZS, and it consumes the energy due to the extra voltage or over voltage, and load will be getting its voltage. So in both the cases, load will be continuously getting its voltage, rated voltage, and the extra voltage will be diverted. So that is how the load is protected from the over voltage, or the over voltage will be curbed from reaching the load. And when very high voltage occur, then the fuse will blow out. The fuse will blow out in very rare conditions, thus isolating the source and the load, and both the SCRs will be turned off, or the total circuit will be turned off, which is a rare condition. In the normal conditions, that is how the extra voltage is consumed in short circuited path via the current limiting resistance. So this is what we have discussed so far. The circuit consists of diodes, resistors, Zener diode, source impedance. Whenever the AC mains voltage rises above the specified limit, the Zener breaks down. During the positive half cycle, T1 is turned on through the path R1, D1 and short circuit the source terminals. So T1 draws a heavy current and causes a large voltage drop across the source impedance. So across the source impedance, large voltage drop occurs, and load will be getting its remaining voltage. Thus the load voltage across the load remains constant. This is the most important feature. Voltage across the load remains constant. It will be getting its voltage continuously. And R1 is the current limiting resistance. And during negative half cycle, these similar features occur. Thus protection will be given. The response times of such circuits are very low owing to faster turning on times of the SCR. They are very fast in protective action. If the short circuit current is very high, then only fuse blows out. So the turn on times are the ratings of SCR. The current ratings of SCR should be more than the fuse ratings. So that is how over voltage protection circuit using SCRs will operate. Then the next topic is the protection circuit is crowbar circuits using SCR. As the name indicates, this circuit is using SCR. Actually, the crowbar circuit can employ any power electronic devices which you can design and operate. In the place of SCR, there can be a triac also. So why this name is given as crowbar circuit? It appears as if it is a crowbar removed from the terminals and short circuited the supply terminals whenever high voltage occurs across the or high voltage comes out of the source supply. This is called crowbar device or crowbar SCR, and under abnormal condition this SCR acts as if a crowbar is suddenly used to short the input terminals. From its shape it appears as a crowbar, and normally crowbar, as the name indicates, it is the crowbar which is provided on the power supply terminals in general overhead lines, where most of the times crows and other birds come and rest on those terminals without getting affected, without getting any shock. Just imagine it as if under abnormal conditions simply a crowbar is dropped across the supply terminals to short circuit them. So under normal conditions, just take the case of a DC circuit. It is actually a DC circuit. Crowbar circuits are designed as DC circuits for protection purposes. Load will be getting its normal voltage under all normal conditions via the fuse. The crowbar circuit comprising of an SCR, a voltage building up a resistor or biasing resistor, and a Zener diode in reverse. This is the combination of crowbar circuit. This is connected in parallel with the load. Under normal conditions, SCR will be forward biased, but it will not conduct, or that voltage will not be sufficient to break the SCR in forward direction, and this SCR will conduct when and only when there will be a triggering pulse given to the gate. But under normal condition, the same voltage is applied across this regulator, Zener voltage regulator branch, where Zener diode and resistor are connected in series, and full rated voltage will be appearing across the Zener diode. Consider that a high voltage occurs, then Zener diode senses it, or Zener diode breaks down in reverse. The voltage across the resistance increases, and when the voltage across this resistance increases above the gate triggering voltage, a current flows into the gate of the SCR. SCR conducts and immediately a dead short circuit is applied across the source terminals as SCR draws a heavy current in parallel to the load. It acts like a short circuit, dead short circuit. There are no other current limiting resistors as shown in the case of over voltage protection circuits like current limiting resistor R1. It results as a dead short circuit applied across the source terminal. So what happens? Very high current flows. Due to that, fuse will be blown out. Fuse will be blown out, or open circuiting the circuit, or load will be disconnected from the source. Thus both source and loads will be isolated. So crowbar circuits are used under abnormal conditions where very high energies are to be interrupted. After that, some person has to go there manually check all the circuits, and whenever the supply source becomes normal, then this fuse has to be replaced. So this has to be done manually. That is the disadvantage of crowbar circuit. It cannot regain its position automatically. Whereas in over voltage protection circuits, the Zener diode regains its position at the end of every half cycle, and the concerned SCR gets turned off at the end of its concerned half cycle at zero crossover. So the SCR turn on and turn off will be automatic whenever Zener diode conducts, and whenever Zener diode regains its position, both SCRs will not be getting their gate triggering voltages. They will be kept in turn off position under normal conditions. Whereas in crowbar circuit, this circuit is used to just disconnect the load at extra high energies. It will not allow any voltage to reach the load. So that is the action of crowbar circuit. It can be employed by using any SCR or track. A crowbar circuit is connected in parallel to the load. Zener diode breaks down at a set value of over voltage, a voltage which is not permissible and above the rated level. SCR turns on when the voltage across the resistor becomes more than its gate triggering voltage. A short circuit prevails across the source and the fuse blows out to protect the load. The turn on time of SCR is very low, and the protection from high voltage is achieved by controlling the gate voltage, which is very less in magnitude. This is the most important feature of this crowbar circuit, whereas even if the load voltage or load carries, even if the load is carrying voltages and supplies and hundreds of amperes of currents, but to disconnect and isolate this circuit, you have to operate only very few milliamperes of gate triggering current. That is the added advantage to isolate it. This type of circuit is used to protect the sensitive equipment under fault conditions. It is used when the amount of energy involved is very high and normal protection is not sufficient. When the normal protection as like over voltage protection by SCR, the first circuit is not sufficient, these crowbar circuits are utilized to isolate the circuits. We will just go through a simple crowbar circuit operation through a video shown. See, under normal working conditions, load is running, Zener diode is blocking. Over voltage condition, Zener conducts, fuse blows out. Just
transistor as a clamping Zener. Here's one you may not have.
run it once again. See, whenever Zener diode opens, this fuse blows out. This fuse blows out, isolating the circuit. That is what is shown in this image. Whenever Zener diode conducts means it is shown as if this terminal is disconnected. It simply conducts in reverse. Fuse will blow out, isolating the supply and the load. There are some other design features given in this site. The Zener voltage value. It depends on the Zener voltage value, and only few values of Zener diodes are available. This is the most important. This is the uh, drawback of the crowbar circuit. Noise tolerance will be there, other things will be there. Again, show another example for crowbar circuit where a bulb will be under normal condition. This is connected in series under normal conditions. Bulb will blow, the bulb will be glowing over voltage. This is the voltage. At certain voltage, short circuit occurs. It will be turned off. Is isolated. Circuit will be broken. Now you can witness the fuse. Now it is not there. Blown. So that is how a crowbar circuit. Crowbar circuit operates, and that is the concept of crowbar circuit. There are some more circuits shown for crowbar circuits using SCR and triac. This is the crowbar circuit used for a triac, and this is with the same SCR only with some designed features suited for 8-volt supply. This is a Schottky diode connected in series with the load. These are the designed values. You can also design the circuit with these values. 100 nanofarad capacitor to maintain the voltage. 0.25 amperes is the rated value of the fuse above which it blows up. 9.1 volt is the rated value of the Zener diode. 1K resistor for regulating the voltage. 47 nanofarads is the capacitor to maintain the minimum required gate voltage, and above that only SCR will be turned on. So these are some circuits employing crowbar circuits. And the other aspect of power protection is static circuit breakers or static switches, which are nothing but the replacement for the conventional electric circuit breakers, which operate under various principles we have discussed in the power systems. In this, we will be discussing those circuit breakers by employing power electronic devices, particularly SCRs, in this session. A circuit breaker is nothing but it is used to disconnect a high power load from the supply whenever very high current flows. When the current in the circuit is small, an on-off switch is enough to disconnect in the static circuit breaker when it is replaced. But when the current is drawn by the source, is a high circuit breaker is used for is high. A static circuit breaker can be used for both DC and AC circuits. Here is the circuit of a static DC circuit breaker, which is a simple example of what we have discussed in our older sessions, where we have discussed the Class C commutation of the thyristors or SCRs or auxiliary commutation. The same circuit is used over here, where the DC supply is given to the load and current flows through the load when and only when the main thyristor, indicated as TH, conducts, The other thyristor THA is used to turn off the main thyristor forcefully. That is why it is auxiliary thyristor. This is the auxiliary. So as it is a DC circuit breaker, forced commutation method has to be used, and in this circuit auxiliary commutation procedure is followed. And this resistor is the current limiting resistor, and also by adjusting the value of these resistors we can control the charging times of this capacitor. So just consider that whenever the supply is switched on, it has two paths. Current flows via the resistance R, auxiliary thyristor, which will be forward biased, and the load, and also the main thyristor. But auxiliary thyristor will not be turned on, as gate triggering voltage will not be given. So with these current will be flowing only these two paths, R and capacitor, load and thyristor. So thyristor, which is under forward biased with this supply, will be turned on with proper gate triggering pulse whenever you want to turn on the load, or simply to say, whenever required, SCR1 or main thyristor will be turned on. When main thyristor is turned on, load gets its supply and load current flows via the source, load and main thyristor, and also the current flows through R, capacitor and main thyristor. Or capacitor will be blocking the DC voltage, DC current, means capacitor starts to get charging, or load gets its current via the main SCR, and at the same time capacitor gets charged with left plate with positive polarity and right plate with negative polarity via R, and it builds its voltage up to and equal to source voltage. So as it is a DC circuit, load will be getting its current continuously as the source is on, and capacitor will also get charged up to source voltage, and even after that, if you want to continue the supply to the load, it can be continued. But whenever you want to turn off the load, then this auxiliary thyristor or SCR should be triggered via its gate. The auxiliary SCR should be triggered. Then what happens? Added to the source voltage, as the left plate of this capacitor is positive, capacitor discharges via this auxiliary thyristor or SCR in opposition to the main SCR. Or when auxiliary SCR is turned on, capacitor discharges, and capacitor discharge current flows via the capacitor, auxiliary thyristor and main thyristor. At the same time, it will also oppose the load current. So discharge current of capacitor will be equal to the load current or thyristor current or anode current. So eventually what happens? The current flowing through the SCR decreases, or anode current decreases, and when the SCR forward current becomes less than the holding current value, it will be turned off, or main thyristor will be turned off. And during this process, what happens? Now the capacitor gets charged in reverse. That is, now the right plate becomes positive and left plate becomes negative, and load voltage continues up to some time where capacitor voltage becomes equal to source voltage again, but in reverse polarity. This becomes positive. So eventually load current becomes zero. That is how the load will be disconnected or circuit will be broken, or the circuit acts like a DC circuit breaker which breaks the circuit and isolates the load from the supply. At the same time, as the capacitor voltage has been reversed, this SCR will be maintained in reverse biased condition. It will be maintained in turn off position, and as the source supply is also obstructed or isolated, this auxiliary thyristor will be turned off naturally as the voltage across it become zero. The same thing we can understand once again from the following explanation. As there is no natural zero, a forced commutation is required to switch off the main thyristor. It is auxiliary commutation or forced commutation which is used in this, that is class C commutation. Load current is run from the DC main supply through the main SCR when a gate pulse is applied to it. It is a normal condition. Capacitor C will be charged to Vs with the polarity shown. To disconnect the load, you want to break the circuit, auxiliary SCR is triggered by a gate pulse simply. C starts getting discharged through TH and main SCR. So discharging current opposes the load current, which will be equal to the load current. The value of R is chosen such that the current through it is lower than that of hold current. This is the most important thing. If R is low, then what happens? The holding current via the load will be current decreases to holding current lower than holding current in lesser time. If R is more, it takes more time. So this R should be in tune with this holding current of the SCR. TH turns off when current falls below the holding current value due to the opposition by discharging current. Then capacitor C gets charged to opposite polarity and the reverse bias will keep the main SCR turned off. When the capacitor C is charged to Vs, the auxiliary SCR will automatically be turned off. It automatically turns off. So that is the concept of DC, static DC circuit breaker, which can simply replace a conventional electrical circuit breaker for DC circuits. Its operation is simple and it is automatic. And the other circuit breaker is static AC circuit breaker, which we are going to discuss. Here in this circuit is shown the AC main single phase AC supply to the load, or this circuit breaker is always there inside the circuit, or the circuit breaker will always be carrying the load current or source current. As in the case of DC circuit breaker, the main thyristor will be carrying the same full load current. Likewise, in this also the same thing prevails as in the case of conventional circuit breakers also. But there in those conventional circuit breakers, the arcing problems, all those closure and opening of the contacts will be there. But in the static DC and AC circuit breakers, no movement of contacts will be there. So the energy dissipation problems, all those things will not be there. Response time will be very fast for the static AC circuit breakers. It is automatic. Cost will be more, size will be less. The cost is less, size is less, all those things, and it is automatic. Simply just go through the circuit. During the positive half cycle, SCR T1 conducts, and during the negative half cycle, SCR T2 conducts. Load will be getting its current in both the half cycles and full voltage in both the half cycles. But how these SCRs will conduct during the given cycles. That is, at a particular firing angle, those SCRs should be turned off. For that purpose, these current limiting resistances or diodes are provided in series with the gates. During the positive half cycle, SCR1 T1 will be forward biased, and there is another path where current can flow via this resistance, current limiting resistance, and also protecting resistance for D1 and R3, and switch and to the gate of T1. And in the negative half cycle, the same T2 will be forward biased to supply to the load, and current flows through R2, D2, switch and R3 and into the gate of the SCR T2. So for normal running of the circuit, static AC circuit breaker, the switch S should always be in a closed position, or this S is a normally closed switch. So now consider that this S is a normally closed switch. During positive half cycle, T1 is forward biased and current flows via R1, D1, R3, S and T1 as S is closed. Gate the SCR T1 is triggered through its gate at a particular given angle depending on the values of these resistances and diodes. Then it conducts. During the negative half cycle, the reverse occurs. The current flows. The T2 is forward biased. Its triggering current flows via R2, D2, closed switch R, S, R3 and into the gate of T2. It conducts. So load will be getting its voltage and currents in both the conditions. To simply disconnect the load, you have to open the switch manually or by some automatic control. That is what is required for static AC circuit breaker. Either by opening the switch manually, both the SCRs T1 and T2 will not be getting their gate triggering pulses. So even if the AC mains are on and the load is connected in the circuit, nothing will happen. Load will not be getting its current. It will be disconnected. Or we can employ some automatic control circuits so that this S will be opened when required. Under all normal conditions, S will be normally closed. So that is the feature of the static AC circuit breakers. Since the supply is AC, no special commutation method is required. Again, most important feature, both SCRs will be turned off if there is zero crossovers of their concerned half cycles. The switch AC is a normally closed switch, and the paths of the currents when particular T1 and T2 conducts are shown: R1, D1, R3S, R2, D2, S, R3. Resistances R1, R2 limit the diode currents and R3 limits the SCR gate currents. When used as a protective device, it breaks the circuit within a half cycle. That is the most important feature when compared to the other conventional electrical circuit breakers. Half cycle means it is point not 5 seconds or 5 milliseconds. Within 5 milliseconds of time, the circuit breaker trips or breaks the circuit. That is how static AC circuit breakers work and static DC circuit breakers work, and that is the concept of static circuit breakers, which eliminates all the long breaking times. Size will be less, breaking times will be less, cost will be less, and they are automatic and simple. To break hundreds of amperes of load currents, to break hundreds currents which are flowing through the SCRs, you have to just manipulate very small gate currents which are of the order of 1 milliampere to 5 milliamperes. That is the added advantage of static circuit breakers or static switches. So these are the topics which we have discussed in this session. Importance of protection of power devices, over voltage protection circuits, crowbar circuits, static switches. And time for a simple quiz. Which one of the following devices is a protective device? SBS is silicon bilateral switch, not so obviously it is the crowbar circuit. Which forced it is the crowbar circuit, which is the protecting device. Which forced commutation technique is used in DC circuit breakers? It is auxiliary commutation or a class C type of commutation. What is the commutation technique followed in AC circuit breakers? It is obviously natural commutation or line commutation.